Today's topic is neurohacking inflammation with our special guest, Dr. Howard Cohn. Welcome to the Hologram podcast. This is sponsored and brought to you by Quantum Neurology Rehabilitation. Every major science publication and cutting-edge physicist is calling our universe a hologram. I'm suggesting that we recognize our human body as a hologram too. I discuss this in more detail in my book, Holographic Healing, available on Amazon. This podcast is for introducing life, health, and healing concepts based on holographic principles and how to incorporate these principles into a holographic lifestyle. The hologram means that everything is connected. We are holograms. So we know this to be true because the smallest unit in our body in the nervous system is a cell, and the contents of the cell contain all the information of the entire nervous system. We know this to be true because of cloning technology, where they remove the contents of one cell and they place it into another cell, and they can create a duplicate nervous system. So communication within a hologram is constant and instantaneous. It means that the communication is to, from, and between each layer of our nervous system. That's constant and instantaneous communication between cells, muscles, tissue, organs, and bone. On the podcast, we introduce the holographic lifestyle, and we examine the concepts of mind, fitness, and health through the filter of the nervous system, healing, and development. We are offering interviews with cutting-edge scientists, doctors, and thought leaders to contribute to your holographic lifestyle. I'm your host, Dr. George Gonzalez. I'm a chiropractor. I'm the founder of Quantum Neurology. I'm the creator of the holographic number theory, the author of the holographic healing series, and the creator and host of the Hologram podcast. This show is for education and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to examine, treat, diagnose, cure any illness, injury, infection, or condition. It is to present concepts and possibilities that the listener or viewer can investigate further. Concepts presented by doctors and experts are their personal opinion and are not promises or guarantees of outcome. Each person's results may vary. Please take your health into your own hands, do your own research, and ask the advice of an expert when dealing with your personal health or life issues. Today, we're speaking about neurohacking inflammation, and we'll be introducing strategies that help our body manage inflammation with our guest today, Dr. Howard Cohn. But first, I want to introduce the subject of inflammation. Inflammation can be caused by anything that irritates the body. Now, in the health profession, we say there's physical, chemical, and emotional stresses. A physical stress would be a trauma or cellular damage that could cause inflammation. A chemical stress are foods or environmental stressors, stimulants, or irritants that could cause inflammation. And emotionally, when we're stressed out, that could cause overall inflammation as well. Inflammation is a protective mechanism of the body. That's our body's way of protecting us. And so today we'll be speaking of natural strategies of managing inflammation. And our special guest today is Dr. Howard Cohn. He's a very close friend of mine. He and I have traveled around the world lecturing internationally together. He's a chiropractor in Costa Mesa, California. He's an advanced quantum neurology certified quantum neurology practitioner, and he's the founder of the Cohn Health Institute. He's been serving his community for over 27 years, and he's also the co-founder of 7.2, the alkaline company. Dr. Howard Cohn is a doctor's doctor. He's been my personal mentor for many, many years, and he's proficient at various techniques in addition to quantum neurology, including neuro-emotional technique and total body modification. My hope is that Dr. Howard Cohn can share some information with us about inflammation. Thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Cohn.
Thank you, Dr. George, and it's just a pleasure to be part of this program, and I appreciate you doing it. And you know, the programs you've done so far have been beneficial for so many people, and I highly encourage that if it's your first time listening, that you check out the other podcasts, the other presentations that have happened here on these Google Hangouts. It's just priceless information. So great to be here.
Thank you so much. And unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties and we didn't get you on video today, but we put you on audio. And, you know, there's a lot of people out there suffering from chronic inflammation. I was one of those. I weighed in over 300 pounds, and I was suffering from chronic inflammation. I didn't know what to do about it until I started hydrating my body properly and using hydration, the power of hydrogen to heal the body. And I discovered this a few years ago, and I've been running with this concept. And Dr. Howard Cohn separately started working with hydrogen. Dr. Cohn, why don't you tell us about hydrogen and how you're using it with your patient population?
Sure, I'd be happy to. You know, it's been quite a little journey looking at that. As you know, is in practice like we do, there's so many people that come in our office with a variety of different situations, conditions, injuries, and challenges. And, you know, what we always say is inflammation and inflammatory processes may not be the thing that is the cause, but it always seems to be associated with any kind of dysfunction. And when people think of inflammation, they think of like inflammation from an injury where they hurt something, broke something, sprained something, and a joint or a part of the body swells up, which is more of an acute inflammatory process. And there's so much more going on with the foods that we eat, like you said, the stress around there, things we're allergic to, things we get exposed to, that create these chronic inflammatory processes that perpetuate. And it's always been a challenge of ours, not just to try and fix somebody in the moment or get their body functioning or their nervous system rehabilitated, but really getting this situation to hold and to get them to stop doing what they're doing. And sometimes people don't know what they're doing that's making it happen. There's the obvious things with the stress they're people under, but there could be something as somebody eating a piece of wheat or dairy or soy or corn that's been genetically modified or has had something done to it that lets this whole inflammatory process start to happen. And how we found our way into this world, you know, in our clinic at the Cohn Health Institute, we've spent over 27 years looking at all the different nutritional pathways and nutritional interventions that were happening in the world. And we have over 2,000 nutritional products that are there to help people from 100 companies from around the world. And we wanted to always, at the end of the day, find out what are those simple things that people can do that can set them up to not get these inflammatory situations happening to begin with. And, you know, we did find our way indirectly to hydrogen, specifically molecular hydrogen. And, you know, I know that you were a good citizen in reading the disclaimer at the beginning, and I must do the same. And, you know, it's a very interesting world now where, you know, the world is controlled by what we call nomenclature, which is terms, which is how we describe things. And the word inflammation, as of in the last 2 years or a year and a half, is now actually a word that in the nutrition world, like as a chiropractor, we can talk about it from under our licensure. When you're talking about it with a nutrition hat on, it's actually a word that is now under the auspices of the medical profession and the pharmaceutical profession. So you're not actually, when you're talking about a nutritional product, even when there's specific evidence showing that something is, let's say, anti-inflammatory, you're not allowed to claim that. So I'm just putting that out there to have it as official record when we talk about these things. You know, my background was looking at when people run hot, and that we're going to use that as the term to replace inflammation. And because when people get acidic, they run hot. And when they run hot, just like your car, things start to break down. So we thought, and we saw it throughout decades, is that if you can get people to cool things down a bit, things would function better. Just like if they were more basic than or alkaline than they were acidic. And, you know, when you look at different things that happen to people when they get ill, one of the things their doctors, if they've read an article in the last years, are going to say you may want to adopt more of a plant-based alkaline diet. It doesn't mean become a vegan. It just means you want to move more towards that, because the diet and what you're doing with yourself has gotten you more towards this inflammatory state, or what we say, running on. So that led us to finding ways to people to replace what they're doing every day with things that were more alkaline. You know, nothing's more alkaline than raw green foods, except if you try and hold them, you know, raw, like so you had a raw broccoli in front of your children, they're going to make a face. So they're just not going to eat things like that. So we needed to find ways, and like we did with our company 7.2, to actually make it so that it tasted good and that they would want to do it. While doing that, one of the things that is so hard to get people to shift from is that morning ritual of drinking the highly acidic coffee that we all love so much, and guilty, me included. It's just a part of a culture that we just didn't want to give up, even though we know it's just really not a health food, although it's going to be argued that by many who are addicted to it is for most part not. So we wanted to see if there was a way to alkalize coffee, and while doing that, we discovered research on something called hydrogen. And it turned out that hydrogen was not just this super anti-inflammatory type of molecule, but it was what we call selective antioxidant. It was like a smart molecule where it knew how to bind up all these things that were causing this overload to our nervous system, while at the same time allowing the signaling molecules to happen within ourselves to actually communicate and make our body run neurologically more efficient, which is just, if there was one thing that in my practice, and I know you've discovered in yours and some of your top QN docs are discovering, that hydrogen is just a great adjunct to help people recover faster when they're looking to rehab from neurological trauma, which we are all under each and every day. So that was really the beginning. It was more that serendipitous finding while just looking for a way to alkalize coffee. And we did it, and we originally called this product that we created coffee drops, because you're able to drop it in your coffee. A little tablet would dissolve and it would make your coffee alkaline, but it would also make it hydrogen coffee, which is, if you know anything about the alkaline water world, which has become a multi-billion-dollar industry around the world, and now you can't, before 10 years ago, no one's ever heard of alkaline water. Now when you walk down the aisle in a Whole Foods, half the aisle is alkaline water. And again, because most water is supposed to be 7.0 or neutral, but it becomes so acidic when it's processed or things are done to it. So when you err on the side of alkalinity, people seem to function and feel better. What they discovered when people use these very expensive alkaline water units, that when they, at the end of this electrolysis process, it released again this thing called a molecular hydrogen. And in Japan, they've kind of figured it out. They haven't figured out the mechanism yet, but 400 to 500 peer-reviewed studies later, they figured out that you can use hydrogen for a whole bunch of enhancements of different healing of different situations. The problem is it's so volatile that it dissipates very fast. And, thanks to serendipity again, hooking up with a 30-year PhD chemist that was really in the forefront of this research, he found out a way to get it in a user-friendly form. We can harness it in a tablet and a powder that you can add to your water, and then really improve that consumer experience, and now have something that we give to our patients to really help, again, speed up that process. So that's kind of, Dr. George, where it all came from.
Well, it's absolutely amazing, and hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. And I was speaking with Dr. James Sheen in the Hologram podcast, episode 4, and he talked about hydrogen specifically having a pressure sense, an effect on our nervous system's pressure sense. And I thought that was so amazing, and into the sensory rehabilitation work that we do and making that association. And it only makes sense because, we have that hydration pressure within our each cell of our body, and that determines the size of the cells and so on. It's so powerful. And the natural way to achieve alkalinity is to have a diet rich in leafy green vegetables. Is that correct, Dr. Cohn?
Correct. Anytime that you can get something concentrated with everyone's favorite green thing called chlorophyll, our goal with, when we looked to put this together, this project, we wanted to look at it as through the eyes of how if Steve Jobs was a nutritionist, how would he do it? And what he would do is he would try and look and see what can't people live without that they don't know they can't live without yet. Like, people couldn't know 10 years ago, the iPhone this year is now 10 years old this year. It's hard to believe that just 10 years ago, no one ever had an app.
Yeah.
Now,
it's amazing.
there are like hundreds of thousands probably billions of apps. And no one, if you lose your iPhone, where your whole world is in your pocket, every photo you've ever taken, every song you've ever wanted to listen to, every thing on your calendar, just your whole computer is in your pocket. And 10 years ago, it was only in one man's imagination, pretty much. And it's persistent to make that happen. And that's really the lens that we look through doing it here. It's like, what can't people live without? Because, you know, we live in our bubble, you and I, and a lot of the docs that we work with and gone through this training. I mean, you know, but the average person walks into Whole Foods and they're like, more like, whole paycheck, I'm out. And they just, most of them won't even know enough to walk in one or live in a town that in our lifetime will have one. So it's to really think that they're going to have an opportunity to really know what good health is and know that what you feed yourself determines what your expression, your neurological expression in this world, besides what we do to enhance and reconnect them to it. It's really just, it's staggering. So we wanted to look at those things, and you know, they're the basics of life. They're called air, water, and food. And I like to add another one called lifestyle. And, you know, we've lost control of our air. You know, you and I live in Los Angeles and Southern California. And, you know, on the average day, you can get up in the morning and you can see the air. You can actually see it. It's called smog. And, you know, you're not supposed to see air. You know, it's not supposed to be visible. So, you know, and our oxygen content in our atmosphere has diminished since you were in chiropractic school, let alone, you know, what it was when our parents were, you know, around, or grandparents were breathing this air. So where do we get that oxygen is from, you know, the chlorophyll in green plants. So whether it's in the form of wheatgrass, barley grass, oatgrass, and, you know, these concentrated grasses kept raw, or they're in like broccoli and spinach, kale, and, you know, all these different things. That's where we get our oxygen from. So no better place to do it than to ingest these things and oxygenate your body, because you know as I do that the body functions better when well oxygenated than when it doesn't. So, you know, we started with the air, then the next thing we moved was to the water. And, you know, with over 2,000 toxic chemicals in the water that the EPA has listed a health advisory for, I mean, you know, the water's not getting cleaner, it's getting worse. And so we wanted to make sure that, you know, what's the evolution of water? Well, the thing you want to do is you want to clean it up, but no one's carrying a filter around with them. So what do we want to do? We want to have water be more alkaline. But again, on further study, it revealed that hydrogen is really that's released from water that can really make water that next level functional food really now. And water is the most efficient nutrient. And now with our HydroFX for water, which is our hydrogen water product at 7.2 mg, you can put a little powder in your water, and now your water has hydrogen in it. And your body it's kind of like where the oxygen from the green plants is feeding you now, but the hydrogen is making up for the indiscretions from the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years of our life. And then what we looked at was, well, how do we get people still the lifestyle? Because not everybody wants to stop doing what they're doing. They're like, you know, pull that glass of wine or that coffee out of my cold dead hands, or I'm not stopping eating my grandma's pasta, or whatever the addiction is, right? So, you know, we created our alkaline booster to help put people back in an alkaline state when they do the things they do. Because you know as well as I do, after years of practice and looking and dealing with patients and with all the docs you've taught, that, you know, people do their best, but nobody's a saint. And so we wanted to give them what we call the hall pass, as we say, the get out of jail free card. And that little trio there is really what makes it happen. And the next thing was food. You know, I know you're a fan of the greens in our 7.2 shake, which is organic, you know,
absolutely
organic shake that's, you know, with nothing artificial, no GMOs, free of everything, dairy, soy, whey, nuts, all the different things that everyone freaks out about in their, you know, Crunchy Mom's websites and Instagram accounts. None of that's in there, you know, so the autistic kid all the way to the, you know, world-class athlete can take it. And that worked on our food. And, you know, coupled with quantum neurology, and my goal with you know, we always say 7.2 for many reasons, has also been a great Trojan horse for people to find their way to a health and wellness practitioner who practices quantum neurology, because they don't know. You know, what I always tell these young docs when they get out of school is that, you know, say someone has a headache. Well, 1 out of 10 times they think about going to a chiropractor, but 3 out of 10 times they think about taking something nutritional for it. Well, if you're offering something like that, you triple the amount of people who come see you. And so many people have been able to, you know, fortunately find their way to QN docs, ironically, through like 7.2 and seeing a presentation on nutrition, and then seeing that the person who did it was certified in QN, and then they looked up what QN was, and they go, hey, they come up to you after the thing, will QN help my this, will QN help my that? And our favorite answer is, I don't know. Like, if you don't check it out, you're still going to have the same problem you still have. So it's really great to see, especially as more and more people see the value of adding it to their QN practice, that how it, as you say, rising tides lift all ships, and more people are finding their way to a QN doc. And, you know, really that critical mass is going to come real soon, where there's way more people looking for QN docs than there are QN docs, which is why we're doing these podcasts, so that hopefully, you know, if you're a QN doc and listening, you're sending it to other people that are not. And if you're not, then definitely go to quantumneurology.com and get a hold of some training in this beautiful work.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And what is really important is I've lost a lot of weight. I've lost over 100 pounds, discharged that weight. And one of the strategies I had was checking my pH every day and balancing that. And I had to do this before Dr. Cohn had this company, and I had to figure out how to make juices and how to do all these things that, as powerful as that knowledge is, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of hard work, sourcing the food, getting everything organic, blending it, chopping it, juicing it, the whole thing. And doing that every day, it took a lot of time. And the benefit of having something like the 7.2 greens and shakes, which I take all the time, it's easy. It has all the no's in it. No gluten, no soy, no dairy, no corn. You know, all the things that we do not want to ingest that are going to cause damage or inflammation, or I'm sorry, running hot, cause problems in our body. We want to avoid those dietarily. We want to not eat foods that cause stress in our digestive tract or our system. And it's great to have a product like the 7.2 shakes and greens that allow us just to make something very quickly and know that we're getting the good stuff in, knowing that we're putting the proper nutrients in that will balance our alkalinity so that we can help our body heal faster. It's been truly amazing. And I'm a big fan of this product and Dr. Howard Cohn. And just to give you a little bit of background about Dr. Howard Cohn, you've been practicing for how many years now? 26 years?
27.
27 years. And I don't exactly remember when we met. It was probably about 18, 20 years ago. And Dr. Cohn has been a leader in the chiropractic community, health, mind, and nutrition community since I met him that long time ago. And it's been so powerful to watch him use nutrients and educating people with literally hundreds of brands in his office that he reaches for. And what he's done is he's formulated an amazing group of products that I endorse completely. I'm a member of his organization. It's powerful, powerful nutrients that we see wonderful results with. I personally, with the recovery product, when I work out, I know what I'm gonna get into the next day, if my body's gonna be sore and those kind of things. But when I take the recovery product, I'm not sore. I don't have those problems anymore if I'm following up with the right nutrients and taking the alkalinity greens, the greens and shake to be able to feed my body the nutrients that it needs to get moving and getting the results. It's been absolutely amazing. Dr. Cohn, how did you come up with these concepts of why pea protein and why the certain aspects of your shake product that are pretty unique? They're not in other products, or not many other products out there.
Well, you know, it's just really looking, we started in reverse, meaning like you said, we wanted to make sure it was free of all the things that people tripped up on over the years, the gluten, the dairy, soy, the whey, the nuts, and even to the point of no nightshades. When it comes to shakes or it comes to greens, a lot of people think that if they add other things in it, that it's going to be health. People have green products out there with tomato or green pepper. They don't know that these are, these are, for some people, a certain population, highly inflammatory ingredients. So we have stayed away from all those different things. Dairy has been one of the hugest ones, and yet still to this day, whey protein products are usually what people end up using. And, still thinking that just because they come from a New Zealand cow that it doesn't create inflammation or it does not have an allergic response. And they say, well, it doesn't contain, the protein or the casein or whatever, but it still can, in certain ways, in certain pathways, even homeopathically, stimulate that response, that negative response, so it's where chemistry and biology, cross over, where you really need to look at it. It's really designed for cows, not for humans. So if someone wants to get the right weight and they only have one stomach, not four stomachs like a cow, or, and their goal is not to be 600 pounds like a cow, then we don't recommend that they ingest something that's from the cow. So, again, it's not about everyone becoming a vegan. It's about easy to digest, nutrient dense, nutrient rich, low calorie, high nutrient. We as a nation are overfed and yet undernourished. So we're not calorie poor, we're nutrient poor. So, the amino acid profile, nutrition profile of pea, it's less gritty, it's all that kind of stuff. We looked at other things like hemp, because people want to use hemp, but it's really hard on the kidneys for some people. It's the world supply of hemp is not the greatest. There's lots of different reasons not to do it. And the reality at the end of the day, unfortunately, whether you like it or not, people are ruled by their palate. They don't like the taste of it, they won't do it. And, you have, with your young daughter and my two young girls, it's not about us anymore. It's about what kind of legacy we leaving for these kids. And we were motivated by that New England Journal of Medicine report that came out that predicted that for the first time in 200 years, 2 centuries, that our present-day children are not going to live as long as their parents. And the reality is that it's really because of these different types of conditions and situations that are associated with making your body run hot, as we say. And we wanted to do something that no pun intended, but we used the kids as the litmus test. We wanted to be able to make it so good they could eat it right out of the container. And, we beat everything in Whole Foods in a blind taste test when we launched it. So we handled that. My daughter Kaylee would eat it right out of the container. She thought it was pancake mix. They called it a shake that tastes like cake. It was really, we wanted to get it so where it obliterated everything else on the marketplace, and it does. And then we wanted it full of organic ingredients because, again, people don't know that they need it. We wanted to introduce them to other proteins from other grains that were non-glutinous, things that were, from like quinoa and amaranth that has been used for thousands and thousands of years, that people just did not have in their diet. Again, not the flour part, but so much more not the grainy part, but more the protein, because of all its nutritional benefits. So it's a unique combination. And then, the reality is, and thanks to Amazon, Alibaba, and the rest of the world, at Costco and Walmart, people still look at price. So we wanted to make sure it was cost effective, because it's even though time and money aren't the issue, value is what people are looking for. We wanted to be competitive. So, it's still, you shake and greens together are way less than your venti mocha at Starbucks, your $5 footlong at the Subway. So we made it so that even anybody would do it. We made it taste so good that it wasn't a departure from their sugar breakfast cereal. And then we're also busy with what's going on, and everyone's moving 12 directions. You got the busy mom and dad got to get out of the house in the morning and get multiple kids. It's like organized chaos. And we wanted to be real fast food, so we even timed it where you could take your shake, your greens, mix it up, and drink the whole thing faster than you get your family through the drive-thru at a McDonald's or a Burger King or Taco Bell or whatever nightmare you're calling food. And so we feed it there. So those are the things that we needed to make sure that we beat everything on it, and we did. So it's really, we're the Uber of the nutrition world right now, and the only reason it's not in every home in America is people don't know yet. We say we're like a supermodel in a turtleneck, and once people see what's under there, they're gonna go wild. So that's really what 7.2 is, and it's things like quantum neurology and people that, or we say we're looking for people who are looking for us, people looking to be healthy, get healthy, and have health. And as we say, like they say in China, don't wait till you're thirsty to dig a well. It's easier to stay well than it is to get well. And unfortunately, the majority of people have found their way to a QN doctor. People have been to every other doc and no one's helped them. And they said, well, I went to this guy or this lady who did QN, and my life is back on track since. And now that they're there, then they get an opportunity to learn this whole plethora of other great things. So this is just one of them.
Absolutely. And I think I forgot to mention that Dr. Howard Cohn is the Quantum Neurology Doctor of the Year this year. And he's been such an advocate for quantum neurology. He's been sharing quantum neurology to all his communities around the world. It's absolutely amazing. What have you found that quantum neurology brings to the table, Howard, that other techniques may, not that there's anything wrong with other techniques, but they're not covering the same bases or the same areas?
Well, obviously there's a lot of different disciplines that use quantum neurology, the medical field, the chiropractic field, the acupuncture field, the naturopathy field, osteopaths, and so on and so forth. And obviously it's very dominant in the chiropractic world. And, chiropractors are really experts in neurologic function. And there's been a really growth spurt in functional neurology in chiropractic, which has made which has really created a lot of very smart chiropractors, almost to the point where it's so funny, the medical neurologists can't even keep up anymore with all that they do. And yet, clinically, at the end of the day, in a busy practice, the application is not there. And one of the things that I've seen is that it's QN or quantum neurology has bridged that gap. It's really allowed doctors to really affect in a faster, greater numbers, and with greater numbers, the amount of people, and have a deep neurological effect on the function of somebody's nervous system, and really free it up, like you say, from a motor sense, a sensory sense, an autonomic sense. It's been pretty neat to see. And to be able to, it's just like a glove fit with so many other techniques that people do, especially if anyone does any functional muscle testing technique, whether it's applied kinesiology or TBM or CRA or NET or a lot of these other techniques that use functional, manual response testing as a diagnostic tool, which in many ways QN does. And then the ability to have a non-force approach with using an arthrostim and lights, and if you haven't been to a QN doc, you may not know what those are. If you have, it's the instrument and the GRT lights which you created, and then it's the application, because as they say, you can teach the tricks, but you can't teach the magic. It's one thing to just have a light, have an arthrostim, and think you're doing it because you know what the cranial nerves are. It's another thing to know the art, the application, and how to play the songs, and that's what your seminars have taught. And it's kind of granted, a lot of the greatness that you've discovered has been based on really traumatic things that have happened in the life of either your wife, yourself, or your daughter, to create all these great techniques. So hopefully we can create more and more with less adversity to preceding them. But it's been really neat, and it's been to the benefit of many people, and it's great to see the next generations with the other QN docs that people see at the homecomings taken in multiple directions, whether it's functional neurology, functional biochemistry, neurological deficit rehabs, rehabilitation, And then athletic and human performance, like our good friend Dave Pascal has done such a great job in doing. So it's been really neat watching all the different spokes that QN has gone and taken to the world. But, it's really, at the end of the day, it's just the beginning. We're in the information age, and thanks to these kind of tools and these Google Hangouts, there are people in multiple continents, and most continents now around the world, that have taken and learned QN virtually and are doing great and amazing things. And it's only the beginning.
Absolutely. I absolutely love it. And it's so great to have you and I together as a symbiotic relationship in chiropractic as well as in quantum neurology and 7.2, helping people get the concepts of putting their nervous system together and also getting their body alkaline for superior health. It's been an amazing group together with what we're doing. Now, Dr. Cohn, you travel around the world. You speak to doctors and patients alike around the world. What would you say is the biggest issue concerning health right now?
Wow.
Yeah, surprise question.
Surprise question. That is a good question. I gotta tell you, it's still the same thing. It's ignorance. Yeah, my mentor always said, they had a question that people asked him, who's your greatest competitor? And his answer was, my only competitor is ignorance. Because if people just knew, then it would be a non-issue. And that's really what it is. People are, unfortunately, the internet is a blessing and a curse, so people are full of mis and disinformation, and they're looking through an allopathic lens rather than a holistic lens. So, the whole definite goal is always to know that the body can heal itself if it's given the tools to do so. And it's got to be well fed and then freed up to function. And, our goal with 7.2 is to feed it well, and our goal with QN and these allied techniques are to free it up to function. And that's it. It is really that simple. It needs, God created this great tool. It gets banged up, but God also created people to help free it up, not to do it for it. That's really the major fundamental difference. And once people realize that their body can do amazing things, then they can save allopathic medicine for the things it does so great in emergency medicine. Outside of that, there's, if people can learn and get a little more excited and motivated and subsidized to be healthy rather than not, it's really cheaper in any culture to grow a head of broccoli than it is to grow a Big Mac. Except in this culture, in the United States, thanks to how our government works, it subsidizes the industries that create the Big Mac, making the illusion like it's cheaper to eat a Big Mac, so everybody gets funneled like cows in slaughter, no pun intended, through the drive-thrus because it's cheaper than their organic broccoli at the Whole Foods. And that's so not true. But people are so far removed from their food, where it comes from. They're removed from the fact that simple little things can free their body up to function. And as we say, what's more exciting than seeing that tumor that's growing outside of your head go away is never having a tumor that's growing outside your head. So that's always what I love to lead people with, that visual. Again, it's not that 7.2 products or QN treat or cure any diseases. What it does is it feeds the body and frees it up so they can do what it's been designed to do, which is heal itself, just as it does when we cut our finger or, stub our toe or do any of those things. It knows how to fix itself. It's been doing it in spite of us since we were born.
Absolutely. And just to reiterate, as you just did, we're not making promises or guarantees. We're just have strategies towards rehabilitating and healing the body that have proven successful with ourselves and our patient populations. Now, thank you so much, Dr. Cohn, for being with us today. This broadcast was brought to you and sponsored by Quantum Neurology. For more information, you could read my book, Holographic Healing, available on Amazon. You could follow the links below, and you could receive my free ebook on lymphatics. Quantum Neurology is nervous system rehabilitation. And if you're interested in finding a doctor near you who practices quantum neurology, visit our website at quantumneurology.com and find the nearest practitioner that will, you can enter your name or the name of your city or your zip code and search for the doctor nearest you. If you can't find a doctor near you, you have to increase the search radius. We also have doctor training. We have DVD, live, and online training available for doctors. Doctors could get started with the QN Essentials package, and they could learn step-by-step rehabilitation strategies and get certified in quantum neurology. Doctors learn strategies for restoring muscle strength, structural correction, sensory and cranial nerve integration, and much more. We have 2 events upcoming. For advanced practitioners, our Module 4 Sensory Neuro Expression event, January 27th and 28th, and that's in 2017. And for doctors that are interested in starting quantum neurology at a live event, we have February 16, 17, and 18, our Module 1 and 2 events. And we also have, before I get into the other things, Dr. Cohn, you've been with us for several years now. What would you say to doctors who want to start training with us? What would you say to that?
Well, I think it's the best move you could ever make. I mean, I recommend that all the doctors at the Cohn Health Institute take quantum neurology. We have quite a few that have done it so far. We have Dr. Christine, who is certified in quantum neurology. We have Dr. Charlie, who is on his way to getting certified in quantum neurology. And I do believe we have at least, we've had docs that used to work in our office at one time and have gone and opened their own offices that are certified in quantum neurology. And we look forward to our other docs doing the same. And, now because of the information age, and, when I first took QN, it was not available online. We attended only the live seminars, which are really still my favorite, and the DVDs that you have made. So one can do it through the DVDs and then get to a live seminar, or they could, if they're in a place where they're another part of the world, another continent, or for whatever reason, the dates or the times at this time don't line up, but they still want to learn and get started with quantum neurology. The distance learning program that you put together is very effective and very complete. And I recommend, rather than waiting for a live event that they can attend, that they should start there.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Cohn. And we also have other packages available to the public. We have our Quantum Neurology Home Care Series, the first of which is How I Healed My Back in 2 Weeks, where I teach you how to move your body while you're in pain, how to roll over, sit down, stand up, and all those movements, using your body properly so that you don't re-injure yourself further. These are concepts that you do between your doctor visits. And if you like what we're discussing, I'm going to start having private access training, online access training for a small fee, and we're going to call that the Holographic Lifestyle Membership. Sign up for our newsletter at our quantumneurology.com for more information, and visit our Quantum Neurology Rehabilitation on Facebook and on YouTube. Please subscribe and ring the bell to be sure to get our updates. And I'd like to thank our guest, Dr. Howard Cohn, for being here. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. And I'd like to leave everybody with a quote from my book, Holographic Healing, available on Amazon. A rainbow is a holographic projection of light through water. Life is a holographic projection of light through our nervous system. This is how our body is representing itself through the holographic system, and I think it's very powerful to understand that. You can read more about that in my book, available on Amazon. Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us. Thank you, Dr. Cohn. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, Dr. George. Thanks for having me. And I know you wanted to mention that if people wanted to make sure to get themselves some 7.2 products or find out more about that they can visit quantumneurology.7.2.com.
Thank you so much for reminding me that. And we will have the links below as soon as we have those available. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. We'll see you next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Bye, guys.